listening to Movie Reviews and More with Brian Sebastian, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hey, it's Brian Sebastian. Here we are. It is Thanksgiving weekend, going on with everything. And we got a full crowd today. This is interesting. I didn't expect this to happen, but I'm glad it happened. Good friends here, very old friends here. Let's start with Zoryana Kit, co-host, Mark Branson from REMO Drumheads. I'm going to show you some of that stuff later, talking about Macy's Day Parade and the Thanksgiving Day Parade and the Rose Bowl Parade coming up soon, too. Tim Cogshell, obviously. Everybody else, introduce yourself. Joya Delaney, my good friend from October of 1993. Joya, tell us who you are.
I am Joya, the Beverly Hills Shaman.
Kara, come on in.
I am Kara Moncrief. I'm the clinical director for VIORA, and we do cosmetic lasers.
And Wade?
Wade Major, film critic.
All right, let's get down. Who wants to ask the first question? Zoryana.
There's a lot of questions to ask.
And obviously, we were talking for like the last 20 minutes about stuff in general. But we have our guests here, so we have to talk to Kara first.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about VIORA.
So we manufacture cosmetic lasers, and we can do pretty much from head to toe when it comes to cosmetics. So think cellulite, contouring, leg veins, hyperpigmentation, skin tightening, all the way down to labia tightening as well. Yes.
Is it one laser that does all those things, or are there different types of lasers?
We do have lasers, but we also have radio frequency, IPL, which stands for intense pulse light. We have different radio frequency modalities. We have a skin tightening handpiece. We have a large one for like body contouring, and then we have an Nd:YAG laser, and the Nd:YAG laser targets vascular. So that's how we're able to treat leg veins. It also targets water in the skin, so that's how we get skin rejuvenation as well.
So none of it's invasive. No, it's no surgery. You don't have to go under. No one's cutting into the skin or anything like that.
Correct. So everything's non-invasive. Most things we have zero downtime, no pain. So they can go right back to work. They can do it on their lunch and go right back to work. No one would ever know.
And how effective is it? Is it something that you have to do regularly in order to maintain, or is it something you can do once and it cures the issue?
No, typically they are a series of treatments. So it varies. Hair removal can be 4 to 6 treatments until it's gone. Hyperpigmentation, like if someone has sunspots, it could be 2 treatments and it's done. But with radio frequency, skin tightening and cellulite, things like that, it is a series, and they're coming in typically once a week or once every 2 weeks. And then you maintenance is usually 1 treatment every 3 to 4 months to maintain that, because we're always aging, so the collagen is always breaking down. So kind of think of it like going to the gym. We can't just go once, unfortunately, and have this gorgeous body. We have to maintain it. So similar to the devices.
And you have a wacky schedule too. You're on the road what?
A lot.
Yeah. How many days did you say?
Last year was 250.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy. My job went international a couple years ago, so that's more so why there's so many days. But I do a lot of North America travel too. So my job is when the doctors purchase the devices, I fly in and I train them, him, her, and their staff on how to use it. So yeah, lots of travel with that.
What do you find that people tend to want most when it comes to that type of a device?
Oh my goodness, it really varies because we have a lot of millennials coming in as well. So the millennials are more so lip plumping because we can do that with radio frequency. Maybe like a little eyebrow lift if they don't want to do Botox, because a lot of people are scared of needles or they don't want the filler look, so they'll do more of the natural with the devices. And then when you get into the older age range, it's more typically skin tightening. We can even treat jowls. So it will remove the fat pads that we start to develop with jowling, and we call this the submental, but it's on the neck. So we can get rid of the fat there, and we can also tighten the skin. So it really varies age to age.
Do you get a lot of men? I'm assuming women would want, obviously women are much more into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So men have grown tremendously in the last couple of years. I think it's been like 85, 86%. So a lot of males now.
Straight men, gay men?
Actually both. A lot of straight men too. I know it's surprising, but the thing is it's non-invasive and it's not dramatic. So it's a slower production of remodeling collagen or removing years of sun damage. So, it's not surgery, so men are a little bit more, and there's no pain, because men, I'm so sorry for the gentlemen that are around me right now, you guys do not tolerate pain well, and there's no pain with it. I mean, when you guys get sick, it's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. So when it comes to devices and it's comfortable, they're more so wanting to do it.
I think women are more tolerant that with beauty there comes a little bit of pain, and also if you've given birth.
Right. Exactly. This is nothing.
No.
Yeah. And in our minds, I think beauty is pain. So we're already kind of wired that way, that we're okay with what we're going into, but men, it's not typically, beauty is pain.
How many
we're getting better.
Men of color coming in?
Great question. So years ago, lasers and IPL, it's targeting melanin in the skin, so it was really hard for darker skin to be able to get treatments. But in our technology, we're able to cool the skin so it doesn't overheat. So think of like Indian skin or African skin. Your melanin wants to pick up that laser light. So in the past, you would have laser burns and not really be able to get the treatment done. But our technologies are able to do every skin type now.
So we can sign Tim up right away, right?
Hook a brother up.
Yes. I didn't bring my devices, otherwise I would.
And the reason I asked is Denzel Washington said that he wanted to try Botox once. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Yeah.
And so I've thought about that ever since.
Yeah.
Not that I want to have it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, and another thing too, radio frequency is colorblind. So, if they're thinking of doing Botox, radio frequency is able to remodel the collagen in areas where we would get Botox, like around the eyes, fine lines and wrinkles, crow's feet, forehead lines. So radio frequency is colorblind, so it can treat every skin type safely without any worry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mark, we got something coming up in New York. You don't have to go this time.
Thank goodness I don't have to go. It gets cold this time of year.
Talk where you're from. You're from REMO.
Yep. So it's the MACY'S Thanksgiving Day Parade, which we sponsor, and we
I don't know if anybody saw it.
and we donate heads to every high school band in the parade. That's a Rose Parade head there you have. So that will obviously be on NBC at I think 9 o'clock Thursday morning, and all the bands get to do their thing in front of the world audience, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So.
And then the thing about that, we're talking about Santa Clara Vanguard, my favorite drum and bugle corps in the world. They played on REMO heads. They won this year, actually, which is actually pretty good.
Yes.
And then, so you've been traveling around, too. Not as much as Kara's been traveling, but just enough.
Yeah,
you were in where? Indianapolis?
Indianapolis last week for a convention called PASIC, which is the Percussive Art Society, which is a convention for drummers.
Yep.
So a lot of drummers do clinics, things like that. Steve Smith from Journey, kind of famous people sometimes, more famous. If you know drummers, then you know who they are, kind of thing. And then there is Bands of America, which is a national marching band, high school marching band championship, right there at Lucas Oil Stadium at the same time. So I'm literally running back and forth between two venues for 3 days.
What is it about parades that people love? I mean, we have 4th of July parades, Rose Bowl parades, Christmas parades, Thanksgiving parades.
I think it's the music. I think people, everybody loves music, and I think when there's, you're enjoying a parade, you're looking at something, but then there's the auditory of it at the same time. So I think that's what people enjoy, because it's like you're looking at a float or you're looking at people walking by, but then when there's a band, they're playing, and you just start clapping. It's music, so it engages you.
Even with little kids, because my mom threw me in a drum and bugle corps. I wanted to join, but I was too chicken to say I want to join, and then I couldn't decide, and I became a percussionist, which was one of the best things, and I'm sure it saved my life, obviously, besides Joya. But it was one of those things where if it went for drum and bugle corps, I probably would be in jail.
Right.
So they took kids off the street. They actually taught us how to play an instrument that way.
Right.
Now you have people doing what, Mark? Coming in, they already know.
Oh yeah, I mean, at the high level now, they've already. Go to YouTube. I mean, you can go on YouTube and learn by yourself and just look at what people are doing and learn. You don't have to necessarily. I mean, it helps to have a teacher to learn the right way, but I mean, people can pick it up so much faster now. So they already come in at just a higher level because they're watching stuff on YouTube.
When I think of parades, to me it just harkens back to something like it's so very Americana.
Yeah,
there's
definitely.
an innocence that comes to
Absolutely.
it, although it's today's parades tend to be overcrowded and
Right.
a lot of security, which is not as quaint as
Right.
the image that.
But there's still a lot of.
Still a small town.
Yeah,
America.
there's still a lot of parades that we don't see that aren't nationally televised, that are more hometown. Like, I mean, there's a million Memorial Day parades. There's a million Georgia.
I'll never
July
forget the
parades,
one that I marched in,
Yeah.
with July 4th, was a
Yeah.
20-mile
Oh, wow.
Parade in Bristol, Rhode Island. It was the longest parade in the world. And it was always the hottest one. And I'll never forget, one day I thought it was orange juice over here at the end of the parade because you're celebrating, because we weren't supposed to drink water back then, believe it or not. Now they give kids water. So I'm like, oh, orange juice. I drank it. You know what it was? It was butter.
Oh.
Nobody told me. I drank hot butter after a 20-mile parade.
Yeah.
I never forgot that. But,
I imagine not.
there was no lobsters. It was butter. I was like, why is butter here? I never forgot that.
Handy.
Yeah. But yeah, it goes back to the military. Drum Corps, Drum and Bugle Corps came out of the military. Veterans of foreign wars, things like that. And the numbers are still there when it comes to Macy's Day and the Rose Bowl.
Well, the Turner Roses Parade and the Macy's Parade, I think both, it's something like 30 million or 30 or 50, I don't know, I mean exactly, but it's 30 or 50 million.
It's very competitive now. It's all about topping your competitor or topping the previous.
Absolutely.
You know.
I mean, those are the two major parades that people see because they're televised all over the world.
Yeah.
So
you got one thing that you were talking about last time you were here. Talk about the artistic drum heads.
Oh, well, the graphic drums.
Kids. Yeah.
Like these for like Macy's and the Rose Parade. These are graphic drum heads that we do. So a lot of colleges are into that now. So like Ohio State has their O on the logo, or Clemson or Alabama has their A, and we have this technology where we can, basically take the film that we use to make a drum head, and color it and put an image on it without it being a sticker. Whereas if you got a sticker, it's going to change the sound, affect everything, and it'll fade in the sun. This doesn't do any of that. So we're just basically
a sticker?
It's not So believe it or not, So I mean, it's like your clothes. Like everybody's wearing different colors in here, but your clothes were dyed. Like if there was whatever color your material is made out of, then it's dyed. So we're basically dyeing the film to whatever image is on it. So so many colleges use that now. All the high schools do it now. Obviously the Rose Parade, Macy's Parade, we do that every year for those guys. They send us artwork and we put it out.
And then for kids, artistic kids, those drum heads.
Yeah, the autism kids, right? We do. We're very.
I didn't know
involved.
about this.
We're very involved with special needs programs in different schools. There's different programs that are run nationally where they use our product and they go into schools and they give kids an opportunity that are autistic to play an instrument, and a lot of autistic kids don't like loud noises through drums. So we make drums that are actually softer and quieter and have a low volume, so it's more of a bass feel or something, so they can still play a drum and enjoy music and not it doesn't scare them, So we have facilitators all around the country, the world they do that.
And what's the website for REMO?
REMO.com, REMO.com.
And Kara, your website?
We are VIORA.INC.
Okay. Tim, talk about how you got into film. And Wade, because you guys have been together for a long time here.
I feel like an old married couple.
Oh, yeah. 1990. Wade is the first person that I met, relatively speaking, when I moved to Los Angeles, writing for Entertainment Today magazine.
Yeah, I took the job that you turned down. I was thinking your cue.
Smart turned down.
Yeah, no, I took an editorial job at Entertainment Today, which was an adventure, and Tim opted to just keep being freelance, so he didn't have to live with the daily drama in that office.
It was an interesting place to work.
It was. I mean, we were both film school grads at that point. I'd come out of UCLA, you'd come out of Southern Illinois, right? And so we just kind of bounced around, chased each other's tails for years and years and years, writing for a lot of the same publications, Box Office Magazine and LA City Beat, and we are now podcast partners on the DigiGods podcast, the Cinegods.com site, and KPCC Radio Film Week. Our affiliate in Pasadena.
What time are you guys on?
So Air Talk comes on at 10 o'clock, I believe, and Film Week comes on at 11 on Friday. So Pacific time, we're talking. 11 o'clock Pacific time, 11 till 1. A rotating group of film critics, all of us in the Los Angeles Film Critics Association, I think, right?
Yeah.
And Wade's been on the show much longer than me. Although I've been on that show for 7 years now. I just talked about that the other day.
It goes fast, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that kind of.
It's the highbrow critic. I'm broadcast film critic. You guys are LA critics. You guys are the fancy yourselves as the highbrow folks.
But you have the better dinner and awards show. We're very envious.
Kara, when it comes to these things, sometimes we see each other, sometimes we don't. But the thing is, when it comes to the award shows, award seasons, that's when people start bragging. Think of the Golden Globes, where there's only 96 members, and half of them are alive, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they write 3 stories, if they're lucky.
It's a whole complicated thing.
But everybody watches the Golden Globes.
It's all about perception.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what movies have you guys? Did you guys see The Post, the recent screening of The Post?
Not yet. Seeing it next week. Yeah.
I saw it on Sunday, but there's an embargo on it, so I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
But if anyone wants to know what it's about, do you guys want to explain?
No, you go.
I just worry I'm going to give something away that I shouldn't. It's Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks. Meryl Streep plays the publisher of the Washington Post, and Tom Hanks is Ben Bradley, and this takes place just before Watergate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. So, I was about to say, so the last scene is leading up to, but then we are under an embargo. But it's really interesting because so many films that I've seen this season have been either about the government or about journalists. I saw Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill. I saw Woody Harrelson as Lyndon Johnson. Then there was Mark Phelps about bringing down the White House, which was Watergate. Mm-hmm. So I just sort of feel like I'm getting a lot of White House stuff and press stuff in real life, and now I'm getting it in my movies. So I was very happy when I went to see I, Tonya, because that was the perfect antidote to just get that was entertaining. Kind of
I watched I, Tonya last night. It's one of the best things I've seen all year. I went. It's exactly what I needed to watch at midnight.
Yes,
because
exactly.
I just finished watching the Florida Project, which I'm not fond of. I seem to be the one. And then I threw on I, Tonya. I sat there and I just cried my eyes out laughing for the next hour and a half, 2 hours. It was absolutely terrific.
It's a story like that. You wouldn't think it would be a feature film. But
it's not even that it's about that story. It uses that story as a vehicle for this very, very twisted kind of American humor. And even though Craig Gillespie, who directed it, is Australian, the screenwriter is American, and it's like it's like American Hustle. Mm. It's a little bit like To Die For. It's that really bitter, acerbic comedy where.
The fourth wall is broken many times.
Oh, they respect no rules whatsoever. It's take no prisoners comedy. It's really angry.
And for everybody who doesn't know, it's about Tonya Harding skating when she came in. That's what it's about.
But not even is the way it's directed and written take no prisoners, but it reflects how the characters behave in their real lives anyways. They didn't have any respect for anything. They misbehaved. They took no prisoners in the way that they acted. They beat each other. They beat each other back.
The thing that is most revealing about that is Bobby Cannavale, who plays...
Does he play Galooly?
He plays he plays the current affair reporter.
Oh, he plays the reporter who broke things.
The thing I love most about the I, Tonya story is about the Tonya Harding story is it brought the name Galooly into the national vernacular.
So Bobby Cannavale is the reporter who broke all of this stuff, and there are a lot of different voices narrating this, but he's the one that really reveals sort of what I think the agenda is, if you could say that there's an agenda, which is that this is about the way that the media culture has morphed. And he says it very early in the film when he says, we were doing this stuff back, all this kind of trashy journalism before everybody else became what we were.
Yeah.
Essentially saying everyone
we started it.
We started it. Everybody now is what we are, even the legitimate news outlets. And it's and you realize that is effectively what it's about. That it is the birth of reality television. It is the birth of everyone as a celebrity on YouTube. It is the birth of everyone gets their 10 seconds of fame, and it's going to be horrible.
But isn't that what Oliver Stone was talking about even longer ago? With Woody Harrelson's film, with Robert Downey Jr. You know the film, the Oliver Stone film, where they were running around. That was about media culture.
We're running around in every Oliver Stone film. You're going to have to
it's
be
Woody
a little
Harrelson
bit
and Juliet. It's Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis.
Natural Born Killers.
Natural Born Killers.
Yeah.
And they're following, and they became a thing. I think that film, I think there was another one called California, but with Brad Pitt.
With K.
Yeah. But I think that way back then,
that film
Oliver
was ahead of its
Stone.
time.
That's what and that film is completely out of control too.
Well,
but that's what he was saying. Is
now
that we are out of control.
Yeah. But now we're talking about weird people, which goes into Joya's territory, and why these people's personalities are starting to come up, because all of a sudden they were hidden. Now you can't hide things anymore. So now you got to describe, because you work on a lot of these clients.
Well, yes, being a soul surgeon is a very interesting job. There's not many of us in the world. By about 6 years old, they're gone. And for me to be in this business 40 years and to still be so strong and almost 70 years old. So when you look at me, you would think of me as a more youthful person, because it's a facelift from the inside out when you work on your soul. And we don't pay much attention to the soul. We do Botox, as you were saying, and different things, and the doctor cuts it out or medicates it down. But in my work, I go a lot deeper, because we're so layered with all this DNA. We come from thousands and thousands of people, and in our DNA is their story. Plus, we have many, many lifetimes. Plus, we've been on other dimensions. We haven't always been human. There's so much in us, and so unless you're addressing every layer that comes up now, then you don't know what you got. Floods, fires, earthquakes, killing, murders, people going cuckoo. You cannot even look at the news. So one of the things that is wrong is spiritual disturbance. That's what's wrong. 98% of our world's problems are spiritual now. There's nothing a therapist or a president or the government or a doctor can handle. And so they're wondering, why didn't we know they were mentally ill when they went and did all that stuff? Nobody can figure it out. All these massacres, they can't figure it out. It's demons. Okay, now, most of us don't have those.
Are you sure?
Most of us don't have those, but we do have, stuff. And we're born with it sometimes, and sometimes people throw hits at you, and there's jealousy and all kinds of things.
And especially in our industry, in the entertainment industry.
Yeah. And,
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I know you think about this stuff all the time. But is there actually really anything new under the sun? I mean, there are things that we talk about now that we know about, that more of us know about because we have an internet and we have a television and all of these sort of things. But in terms of the stuff itself, is there anything new under the sun?
Well, you'll see it as the next 5 years come in, because the world is going to be full of light and the darkness will be covered up and invisible. So it'll be, I wouldn't say paradise. There'll be less people here. There'll be an organic way of living. We'll be treating each other right. We will be treating the earth right, animals right. All the things that aren't really happening as they should are being expunged and purged off the planet now. So yes, there will be new, because we'll be in a new planet. And that's why we came here. Now, this is an Earth school, and it's very important to understand that we are all students in Earth school. There are many, many people who feel like victims because they have lost faith. And it's very important to connect and raise our consciousness at this time. Okay, if you think about it, how exhausted are we now with all this light coming into the world? There's more light coming in now, and our systems can barely handle it. So once you understand these things, it will help. That we all have karma, we all have, I call them critters, we all have critters, and so as a result of it, they're coming up to face and erase. So there's all of these stories, including us being juniors of our parents. And the main thing is to understand that we're here learning. So even if you don't like it, remember you chose it, because it's a karma school and we're all here learning. So comparing, being jealous, none of that stuff really works. So me especially working in the industry is because when I was sitting at 18 hours, on the set waiting to do my part, then people would say, well, who are you? They would feel something in me. And I started reading not only, the people who were on the set, but also the directors, and many people were on cocaine trying to stay up and all kinds of things. So I ended up really focusing on show business people more than anything else. I had many supermodels in the beginning of my career. And if you would date certain people, their mother would hit at you, or the other model would hit at the other model. And so I was protecting all these models. And they would send their friend, and the friend would come, and the friend would come. And so I became very successful at protecting work, and putting shields up around people so that they could maintain their careers without interference. So the main thing is we're not aware of all these things, but when you see what happened to Bob Marley or Jimi Hendrix or Anna Nicole Smith, Princess Di, those are people I wish I could have helped. And there's so many of them that I see, that are going through things, and I wish I could help them. Sometimes I was around the corner from JFK, for instance, and his wife, she was looking for someone like me, and I was around the corner from her then. Like, please find me, like.
What do you mean now? What are you saying? JFK, his wife is Jackie.
Yeah, she was looking, JFK Jr.
Jr. Okay, yeah. Jr. Okay.
Yeah. So she was looking for someone like me, and Princess Di went to many people like me. She was really trying to fight. Because she was very much a threat, to the royal family. So, I was there at that time too. I was in London then. I was down the street then. So, I've been helping, people like in Monaco, when Prince Albert needed a lot of help, and his Princess Stephanie and all of them. I helped them all. So, royal families almost need more help than anyone else.
Why do you think that is?
Well, how they take over their position, for one thing, and also the Kennedys, for instance, they just say, well, that's just a little bit of misfortune, but it is really a family curse. And I can help them, things like that. There's many healers that can help, but, they're very proud, and they go, well, this is a badge of honor, and we're Kennedy, so we can't break it. We have to just be traditional. And so I have a lot of people from different cultures that also feel that way, but when I'm able to help them, they're very happy. And, once your soul feels refreshed, it's like a spiritual colonic. So all that crap that's in us gets washed out and clean water comes through. So what I see is so many more happy marriages and so many wonderful children that are born from light. That's the only way I can explain it. This planet does have a dark and a light side, but it's folding now. Why? Because, we had to learn what we needed to learn. And how do you learn how not to be unless you have that example in your face, which is now pretty obvious with everything that's going on. We're learning how not to be. Stay on the light. Do the right thing. That is the message.
Spiritual colonic.
I think it's. I know I like that term, spiritual colonic. I run media and co-run production at Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, and on a daily basis, we are confronted with images of animals, marine life being cotton nets, shark fins getting their fins hacked off, turtles whose shells are torn off and their eggs are taken still from inside their bodies, the pilot whales being slaughtered in the Faroe Islands, the Taiji dolphins that are being slaughtered, and the pretty ones being sold to dolphinariums to a lifetime of being forced to perform for people in these small tanks. And sometimes it's very hard to see that kind of stuff, and you just wonder, when does it stop? Because some of these countries' defense is that it is cultural. It's our culture to do this, and that's just not something that I would buy, because it used to be part of our culture to do many different things. Women couldn't vote before. Slavery was alive and well. So all those things could have been considered cultural, but at some point we stopped doing those things. Women did get a chance to vote. It's changing now even more with all these scandals that are happening. Mm-hmm. So how do you do your work in protecting when something is coming more from a cultural wave as opposed to one person perpetrating something criminal on another?
Well, just like the United States is going through things, every country is going through things now. Even the girls are coming out of the, not being able to learn, or they've been called, different names in India, because they only wanted boys and all kinds of things like that. There are so many things that are changing, and it will change. There's sometimes the president, and they're knocking them out and getting the better one in. I'm hearing a lot of good news too about some of
Mugabe.
Yeah.
Robert Mugabe went away today.
Oh, yes.
After
And it's gonna
30,
and he used to say the only person who could ever remove him was God. That's what he said.
Well, and that was the other thing. You used to be talking about these things a long time ago, and what movies were being made, which I always felt interesting because you guys would be reviewing all these things. I thought that was always interesting.
I was always part of it, and the group that I put the group together of light workers, and we work on all of that. And to really see some of the award shows, which now they're threatening not to have the Oscars now.
What now?
That happened.
You know anything about
it?
Well,
I mean, I get that we have a.
I don't even have a nomination anymore.
Today we were chatting back and forth, and I did notice. I noted this afternoon that there's just not the same energy around the awards season. As is usually the case.
Everyone's got a like their personal space.
It's not the same energy. There's an energy, but it's not the same sort of energy.
It's because now the minorities have spoken their part, and it's better.
Well, we had that for the last 4 or 5 years. The Oscars to white, Oscar to male, Oscar this, that, and the other thing, and then all kinds of stuff happened with the Academy. They added.
So what's the hashtag now? Oscars so.
That's a good question. What because Frank Oscar actually kind of fixed itself. Cheryl Boone Isaacs and so the Academy. We say Oscar, but we mean the Academy.
The bigger question is, how do movies become relevant again? Because movies have, the Academy Awards have plummeted in viewership for the better part of over a decade. Ticket sales have not been consistently what they were a decade ago. More people are flocking to streaming. So the question is, is the theatrical motion picture experience even relevant?
Okay, does it have to be relevant? Perhaps it's all part of. If I'm going to go with Joya's views, but maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe we've always placed too much relevance in the Oscars and what that means, and maybe we should be looking elsewhere for relevance, and maybe it's not a problem to solve. Maybe that's just something that we are to accept because there's other things we should be focusing on.
Metamorphosis,
that would be the word. So that the right people who deserve it receive an award, and who worked with them. A lot of people didn't deserve it, and they got it. It's the same old people all the time, and it's just boring.
Oh, Harvey. although I mean, one of the interesting conversations that we've been having is a person who is offending Harvey, going around doing the things that Harvey has been doing, and Louis C.K. and some of the other people that we've been talking about. These people are artists. They have created this various different art, right? Louis C.K.'s movie. And of course, that's not just Louis' movie. It's everybody. There's a whole bunch of artists in that movie. A whole bunch of people writing, directing, production designers, and they're working hard.
Oh, really?
And they believe that they are creating a worthwhile piece of art, right? So should all of them be punished because one artist, the central artist, Louis, because he thought of it and wrote it and directed it, but because one artist here has done something dastardly? Should all of us be punished?
Well, that's why Ridley Scott is reshooting All the Money in the World.
Cut Kevin out.
Because his statement was precisely that there were so many people who put their heart and soul, and they should not be punished for one person's misdeeds. So, but for the studio, you put in that money, whatever it takes.
So this goes to Mark and Kara. What conversation that you're hearing, is that enough to get you to go out and buy a ticket after traveling so much to go see a movie?
For me, no, because for $1,000 you can buy a 4K 60-inch TV and have the same experience at home. So for me, going to the movie theater is about going with friends. Now, that being said, going to a movie theater for an action movie or a big movie like a Star Wars movie or something huge like that, or a Superman or what have you, one of those movies, that's a movie experience because you're getting that whole experience, the action and the cinematic whatever. A rom-com or a drama, can watch that at home on my couch anytime.
That's interesting because these guys used to write about stuff like that.
So it's in a comedy, it's like it depends on like if it's going to be super funny, then obviously the comedy experience in movie theater, full movie theater is much more fun when everybody's laughing, right? Versus sitting at home on your couch. But
this is also the argument that Christopher Nolan makes about Dunkirk. That Dunkirk was designed to be a theater experience, to be something that you can only experience in a big movie and in a big movie house. And that's I think that's the way that things are eventually going to have to go. You can now. The argument that I've been making for a long time is that you have to reinvent the theatrical experience if you're at a place where home theaters are becoming more like theaters, your living room is becoming more like a theater, and the theater is becoming more like a living room. You have to start saying, well, maybe we should make the theater not so much like a living room. Maybe we need to go back to those movie palaces, to those giant screens, those big movies, those experiences where people actually dress up and you don't wear a dirty T-shirt in the middle of the day. You know, it's a thing.
Yeah,
you know.
40s. I don't know. I might be in the wrong area.
But Kara, if that's the case, are you going to come off the road and actually go to pay to see a movie?
I do. I'm opposite of you guys. It's my escape. I love the theater.
See, that's good. I like her already.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Yeah, it's a different feeling than just being at home.
Yeah.
I go by myself because I travel a lot.
They serve wine. And talk about bringing the living room into the theater. You can have red wine, the reclining chairs. You can lay back, the little trays. You can have a full meal.
As if most movies won't put you to sleep anyway. Let's drink some wine and have a sandwich.
Exactly. What critic has not fallen asleep at least once?
Justice League took me out a couple of nights ago.
I can't even bring myself to see that.
I went to the screening. I was, the screening, the first screening, and I sit down there, and the movie gets going, and something wacky happens right at the beginning of that movie, and I was rolling my eyes just to be sarcastic, but they stayed rolled. And I wake up like an hour later, right? And there's a gigantic battle going on. Like, Wonder Woman is just kicking the snot out of somebody. I'm like, I was like, when did she get in the movie? And I realized, oh my God, I've been gone for like an hour. And I had to come back and see that movie again.
And you didn't miss anything.
And I don't think I did. I saw the movie again. I felt like the first experience.
Hey, were you ever in the screening with Kevin Thomas? When Kevin used to fall asleep?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if you... Kevin used to fall asleep.
For the LA Times,
and
right?
He did. He watched all the B movies.
Yeah.
So we would have like a 10 o'clock screening at 10 o'clock at the Royal.
At the Royal, yeah.
And then, that's all. Before, maybe 6 people, that's it. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. Kevin would be snoring, and then he'd wake up and go, what happened? So I'd have to walk over to where he was and explain to him the movie, and then he'd write about it.
But he always liked everything.
But he didn't see anything, which is what I did like. And I'll never forget this, because I asked him, Kevin, what do you think of Braveheart? He goes, I wasn't assigned to see it. I mean, what do you mean you weren't assigned to see it?
Because Kenneth Turan got all the A levels.
But I was like, I thought film critics were supposed to see everything. That's what I was doing.
Does it take the joy out of your job? Does it take the joy out of seeing it?
Well, it depends. I mean, you enjoy fewer films, but the ones you enjoy more.
Yeah. Tell me about the Florida Project, because I want to see that.
I think that I should tell you about the Florida Project. I don't think he should tell you.
Did you see American Honey last year?
I can't bring myself to see that.
The same movie.
First of all, that's an exquisite movie, American Honey.
That was like 3 hours long.
Yeah, right? Very long.
It's not about the length. It's about whether or not, what these movies do. And I give them credit for having the aspiration. What they do is they shine a spotlight. They put a magnifying glass on a particular aspect of American culture, a kind of the corner, the people who are left behind, the people who live in motels, people who are homeless and shuttle around the country, and perhaps live on the margins. That's what it is. You know what? I live in LA. I see the margins every day. So I make a documentary. There's nothing about the margins that is dramatically interesting to me. I'm in Tanya. That's interesting to me. It takes something, blow it up, put bells and bows on it, and then just gore it apart. That's interesting to me because that's drama. Just sort of shining a spotlight on the margins, I don't find very interesting.
Well, for me, of course, it depends on what the margins are that you're shining that spotlight on. He's right. These things are all Tangerine, Sean Baker's other film about transvestites wandering around.
Shot on his
iPhone, you know. Yeah. And sure, I drive up and down Santa Monica Boulevard and I see the transvestites, but I'm not, I'm not all up in the transvestite groove, figuring out. Sean got up in the groove. It's like, this is what the transvestites are doing, guys.
But it was also a good movie, too.
But that's why. It's because he went, this is the nature of this thing. Same Florida project, a family living in a motel, a residential motel. Lots and lots of people, these people living on the fringes, At school is out, she has a 6-year-old girl, she's a 20-year-old stripper. Single mom. And they're living in this motel, hustling like everybody else there. And you got Willem Dafoe playing this assistant manager at the hotel. And here's the thing, right? We were just talking about superhero movies. This is a superhero movie. The Florida Project is a superhero movie. Willem Dafoe is a hero in that movie. He's just the assistant manager at this motel, but he takes care of these people like he's their dad, like he's Superman. He watches over that little girl. He watches over her wacky mother. He makes sure that they are going to survive. He has nothing. But he's more heroic than Batman has ever been in any fucking movie. I promise you he is.
All right. So, Mark, is this enough to get you to go out and see this movie?
No. Well, I'll rent it. I'll watch it at home. Well, I mean, it's it piques an interest, but again, it's like I would not want to go sit, and pay, $15 or whatever it is, and sit in a movie theater and watch that on a big screen, where, I'd probably waste the $15 and go see
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, whatever, the Marvel movie, that's horrible.
Kara?
Because it's action.
Again, I love the theater, and you explained it really well. You've sold me.
Joya?
Yes, I would. I do. I'd like to go with friends, especially, or even little celebratory things and a group of us, and to go where there's food and the wine and all that. But what does bother me, though, is the darkness and the blowing up of things and the weapons and glorifying violence. It really is affecting our kids and teenagers, and so much of what I would like to do and keep doing is really encouraging the movie makers to do something else, and because people are getting too numb to it. And I've seen so many weapon movies where the weapon was like so huge and the blow up was so horrible and the people didn't even move. I was like this, oh my God. And who made this? And who is going to copy that? And so this is why we have so much weapon problems. Movie makers are leaders. And I do work on a lot of the behind the scenes people, and they get a lot of awards, those shows, because they're clean and they're actually touching the hair and they're making the makeup and looking blood, dripping down, and these people work really, really hard. And the hair people as well, and the dressers, the stylists, the designers, the music, all of that is very special, to see them really blossoming and really growing, and those kind of people being leaders.
What's a favorite film that when you were growing up as a little girl that you liked? What inspired you?
There were so many movies because, in those days when I was growing up, we had Twilight Zone on TV and a few little things like that. Johnny Carson, I was growing up. The music was really great. But when it came to films, it was not anything like it is now, of course. There was just a few stations, a transistor radio, and there was, so many ways and outlets to get that. So our parents pretty much kept us, at home. So when I was growing up, I was in the Nutcracker Suite and stuff like that.
Wow.
But other than that, when I look back, I can think of those kind of plays and things that gave me joy. But it was mostly TV, and my favorite was Twilight Zone.
Obviously.
Right.
Kara, favorite film?
Yes. Favorite film? Pretty Woman.
Why?
Well, you asked her what inspired you. I don't think that I was inspired to live her life. I don't know. It's that movie that I can put on repeat and never get sick of. I love it. Yeah. I feel good.
Wade, this will be interesting.
Favorite movie? 2001 or Lawrence of Arabia, depending on the day and season.
And the cut? And is there a certain cut to it, too?
Director's cut versus...
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of versions of Lawrence.
No, Lawrence, there's now just the director's cut. That's all there is now.
How come there's no production assistant's cut?
No. Lawrence, there were several different cuts for many years. Now it's just the one.
Tim?
I'm a Citizen Kane man. Orson's first film. He's a very, very young man, and the film is very, very insightful. I think it's very, very relevant to elements of today. Of course, more or less, he's playing William Randolph Hearst, sort of, kind of, who was a newspaper magnate. And the way that world worked at that time seems to be the way we are in the world working today. Very, very powerful people with great deals of influence and money buying their way into this, that, and the other thing, and trying to shape the world to their will, and failing miserably. Is what happens in that movie. And then, of course, there's all the just the beautiful art that went into making Citizen Kane. He was he innovated all kinds of extraordinary things. My second favorite film, though, which is a film that I watch much more often, is Thelma and Louise, which people always giggle when I say that. But I got to tell you, I always love that film. I always at the core of that story, this film about these two women, written by Callie Corey, of course, written by a woman, directed by Ridley. Ridley? Was it Tony or Ridley, Wade, that directed?
Ridley.
Mm-hmm. Scott. And that film about these two women at this particular time in the world, driving across Texas, and I have issues with Texas. I got personal issues with Texas. I'll tell you that right now. Me and Texas don't get along. And particularly the way it ends, and I won't ruin it for anybody who hasn't watched it in the last 25 years. Pull yourself together and watch a movie, for God's sake. It's just a beautiful, beautiful movie. And a lot of people didn't get that movie at that time. It's sort of... but I always felt that movie deeply, deeply, deeply. I get that idea. I get that central idea in that movie. Of, you know what? If I cannot live my life whole and complete as a validated person, screw it. I'm out of here. And that was just an extremely powerful statement to me.
You also see the coming out of Brad Pitt in that film.
Young Brad Pitt.
That was his big breakthrough.
Damn near as pretty as Gina Davis.
Mark?
For me, it's Shawshank Redemption.
Great film.
It's not that it just connected with me. It's just the music. I'm a big Thomas Newman fan, and that was like the first movie. We're like, what's this music, right? Yeah. And it's like with my friends we joke. It's like the bar that everything else is raised on. So like Moneyball, I call the Shawshank of baseball movies, right? So it's like whenever Shawshank is on, you stop and you have to watch it. So it's like a movie that just you have to stop what you're doing and watch it.
And that's
and
true.
It's like,
not
a bad scene in that entire
film. And then when you get busy living, get busy dying, right? And it's like, and then when you see another movie, you just go, oh, that's the Shawshank of this genre, whatever.
Morgan Freeman's voiceover.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Zoriana?
I am not I don't often go back into the well to the old movies, but I remember the first time I saw His Girl Friday, and I was enamored with Rosalind Russell. The newspaper business, this powerful, beautiful woman at the center of it, not just her outfits, but just her poise and her confidence, and taking complete control and complete charge of a newsroom that was surrounded by men. To me, that concept was ahead of its time. And I love that movie because I feel that other than the technological aspect, it still holds up today. But another old film that I think everyone is due to watch is Gaslight. I mean, the time and place that we are now living in, that movie is a microcosm for so many things happening right now.
For every story of every day. It's what we were talking about earlier. It's what Bobby Cannavale says in I, Tonya. It's that we have moved to a place now where everything is clickbait, everything is gaslighting, everything is, because so many things compete for our attention all the time. That's the only way that you can sort of grab a pair of eyeballs long enough to make a dent.
And I think that with all these scandals that are happening, you see the attempts at gaslight, because the go-to phrase is she's crazy. She's crazy.
Yeah.
And the immediate is to discredit the accuser because they're crazy, which is the whole concept of gaslight, is that everything he did was designed to make her feel crazy, to the point where she began questioning whether or not she truly was crazy. And that's the go-to phrase.
And with that, I loved Enter the Dragon, and it's a mad, 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 mad world. Enter the Dragon made me, seeing Bruce Lee up there, made me want to be in martial arts. And seeing that comedy slapstick of it's a mad, 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 mad world, I till this day, I love that, especially the intermission. I missed that. And that was always nice. And then with that, speaking of what Zoriana was just talking about, scandals. We were talking about Harvey and everybody else coming out. Who's next? That's the one thing I want to know. Do you guys get tired of hearing what's going on in Hollywood and then crossing over to politics? Does that make sense? Does it bother you? Kara?
No.
You guys go first.
I just try to tune it out as much as I can because it's old news, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it is part of what I was talking about. You know, it's like a blanket with bugs underneath, and the blanket is being pulled up, and it doesn't matter who anymore. It doesn't matter how wealthy, how powerful, how good looking. It doesn't matter anymore. If you have done wrong, you can't do it right anymore. And it's going to get stricter. So it doesn't matter if it's sex or if it's robbing or if it's greed or whatever it is. It's all going to be expunged. Not only that, Mother Earth is not having it, and the Creator is not having it. So it's time now to raise our consciousness and do the right things. And if you're not, you know, the belt is coming out. Your parents are not happy.
So we know what the word film means, movies. But there's another definition of film, right? Film. I remember interviewing Carrie Fisher once, and she said there's a reason Hollywood is called the film industry. She said it's all that disgusting grossness comes to the surface, and it's just sitting there, and it's just gross. And this is somebody who literally was born into the business, grew up in it, and knows no other life. Right. And that was her definition of what the film business was. Yeah. I've never thought of film. I mean, of course, we talk about that, but I never thought of the word film in that regard.
What I do like is, say, for instance, Meryl Streep or Jamie Foxx or Leonardo DiCaprio's getting ready to play Da Vinci. I love when they can channel that being and become that. They are masters of channeling. They're actually become that person. It's so exciting, that part of it I really, really like.
Then you will like I, Tonya, because Margot Robbie, an Australian actress, does white trash really well.
From the age of 15.
Yes.
She plays her at 15 with braces.
Yeah, to
now. Forward.
Current, yeah. But you had mentioned Mother Earth and not being happy. I wanted to, we're running a little bit out of time. I want to talk about Sea Shepherd. This is a time of giving. Thanksgiving is on Thursday. After that, there's Black Friday, where everyone goes and gets their deals. But Tuesday, November 28th, is Giving Tuesday, and that is the International Day of Philanthropy. And that is the day where, after you've had your turkey, after you've bought all your immediate selfish needs of things that you want, please consider donating to an organization that is dear to your heart. And if you don't have an organization that's dear to your heart, I will give you one that's dear to my heart. And that's the organization that I work for, which is Sea Shepherd Conservation Society. 70% of the Earth is covered with oceans. It should be called Planet Ocean more so than Planet Earth. It provides us with oxygen, and we are depleting it. The oceans are in a terrible state. So please, on Giving Tuesday, if you can please go to seashepherd.org and click on the donate button and please give. We are a donor-funded organization. Our 90% volunteers. Our ships are staffed by volunteers. We do it all based on donations. So on Giving Tuesday, please give to Sea Shepherd.
And that's why I like Provincial vodka, because this vodka is million-year-old water in Canada, Blaine Lake, Saskatchewan, Canada.
Why are you looking at the Canadian like I can help you pronounce all that stuff?
I'm looking to the women to help me out here, that's why. We're supposed to be learning, as Joyce would say, we're supposed to be learning from you now. So, but that's why I like it because of water.
That's what you're trying to say?
Yes, exactly.
Saskatchewan?
Exactly. They all make fun of me. Yeah, when I go ice fishing there, I'll make sure I take pictures. You'll see me like bottled up and I'll be freezing to death. But I'll be drinking it, so it'll be good.
But you don't want to be ice fishing because you don't want to be depleting our oceans and you don't want to be fishing.
I didn't think about that one. Okay, see,
no,
I learned
vodka,
another thing.
man. You won't want to fish.
Just stick with the vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they all change colors like that, or is it just that bottle?
Oh no, they kind of do.
It represents the chakra color.
Exactly. That's what I call it. Exactly. Last word around roundabout stuff. Talk about your product and why it's good.
So VIORA, we are a cosmetic laser, radio frequency, and IPL device. No downtime, no pain, nothing that's going to be dramatic. So it's working with your own natural collagen in the skin, helping with pores and wrinkles.
I'm making an appointment, by the way. I can't wait to try it. Yeah.
Where is this?
Slowing down the aging, and it's good to start a little bit earlier as well. I mean, when we hit maybe 60 and we look at our skin and go, "Oh my gosh, what's happened?" And then going in for a facelift, that's going to be a dramatic, pull look where these devices will be able to maintain that collagen and that smooth skin and small pores and removing sun damage, things like that. Even body cellulite and contouring and things like that, but non-invasively. It's it's not going in and doing surgery. It's smoothing out areas that are troubled areas.
I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm there.
No pain, no downtime, beautiful results.
And your website.
So it's VIORAMed.com, and we have a physician's locator button that you can click and find the doctor that's closest to you. Yeah, and LA is a huge, obviously, huge market for us, so it'll be easy to find.
So we can have you come back again?
Yes, of course. Do you want me to bring the device next time?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm curious
about it.
about
all on beds and we'll be doing treatments.
Yeah. Wade?
You can hear Tim and me at the digigods.com podcast, also cinegods.com. Tim's got cinemainmind.com as well, so that's where you find out, and scpr.org.
And also your stuff with DVDs.
Yeah, well, that's the Digigods podcast.
The Digigods podcast, yeah.
It's all DVDs and Blu-rays until they become obsolete, and then we'll have to find something else to talk about.
What day does the original podcast drop? What day does the podcast drop?
It usually drops on Sunday, but it's dated Tuesday. Sometimes, depending on when we get stuff in, we'll push it a little bit. But between Sunday and Tuesday every week.
Yeah, and of course you can listen to us on the radio when we are on the radio. I believe Wade is on this Friday, which is what?
I'm on again the 15th.
The 15th,
and you are on the next week,
and
then
the following
I'm on
week.
the week after that.
Live, of course, and now the Film Week program airs live on Fridays from 11 till noon, and then again, a repeat on Saturdays now, Brian, from noon. I think at noon.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So obviously it's not live then. And then of course there's the podcast and all of that kind of stuff. So easy to find.
Mark?
What do I got? What's going on? MACY'S Parade.
Yep.
Thursday. I have a trade show the week of Christmas in Chicago.
Wow.
Called the Midwest Convention, which is a music trade show. And then December 29th and 30th, we host Band Fest at PCC, Pasadena City College, where all the Rose Parade brands do an exhibition for 2 days.
Oh,
and then
I want to go see that.
I'll get you a pass. And then there's the Rose Parade. And then the end of January, we have NAMM.
I'm going.
Yeah.
I'll be back there. Website?
REMO.com.
Okay. Joya?
You can get me at Joya Delaney, DELANEY, Joya, first name JOYA.net. And I have prayers on there so you can clear yourself. I have prayers that will connect you with your angels and clear the past and whatever layer's coming up. Say, for instance, the layer may be you're too nice and you're a little martyr-like, so people take advantage. You can clear that very quickly instead of years learning how to not do that. And you can learn how to shield yourself really good and connect with the light and ground yourself to the earth and put up divine protection for anything that may happen. Also, I'm working at this time with also stopping nuclear weapons and earthquakes here. So I put the groups together and we've done quite well in keeping everything under control. But it is up to each one of us to help, and especially connecting with the angels. We're like their battery. They're trying to help, but we're their battery. So I put the group together so that we can do a lot more.
Is it true that when we see a clock that says 4:44 or 11:11, or is that
That's the angels talking to you.
Oh, that's amazing. I always see 111. Those are,
Yeah.
those are my numbers.
That's all about transformation. Well, it's about transformation, what we're going through now, from dark to light, and also they're saying, yes, do it, we're with you. So they'll turn your head to the clock at that time. And you'll
And what do we do with that?
just know that they're there for you. That's all. Yeah. And then talk to them, pray to them.
You said one time it's okay to ask for a miracle, isn't it?
Yes. Miracles, breakthroughs, and blessings at this point. Yes, please help.
And movies opening this week, Darkest Hour, The Man Who Invented Christmas, and Roman Israel Esquire.
Oh yes, Roman Israel Esquire. Yeah.
Please go out there and support those things. And if you've seen Hulu, Amazon, or Netflix, they're good too, right, Mark?
Mudbound is on there right now.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen, but I want to.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
It's tremendous. Yeah.
It really is.
Someone's going to get nominated from that movie.
Mary J. Blige is going to get nominated and may even win.
Because it's an ensemble movie, nobody has a really big part. So, but I think it's like everybody's a supporting actor, but everybody is worthy of a supporting actor nomination.
Based on what I've seen so far, I think supporting actress comes down to Mary J. Blige and Allison Janney, and
But I even like Carey Mulligan in that.
Yeah. Wait till you see Allison Janney and I, Tonya.
Yeah, that is spectacular. We never knew the mother in the story.
No.
We just knew Tonya.
And when
Nancy,
you see the footage of the mother, you realize Allison Janney is amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. See, we could talk about this for another hour, but we're going to see you next week. This is Movie Reviews and More. If you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because we need it. See you next week.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
You're listening to Movie Reviews and More with Brian Sebastian, only on LA Talk Radio.